guys, I'm Stephanie,
And I'm Tiffany,
and we are
Sisters of the South.
We are back again with another true crime story today. We're so excited to bring you this one. But before we get started, we would like to ask you to please hit the subscribe button, also hit the like button, and share our stories. We'd greatly appreciate that. And also drop some comments. We'd like to know what you think, any thoughts that you have. We like to hear those.
Yes, please.
And we get super excited over that. And also, before we get started on the story, we would like to mention our favorite vendor and friends over at SoFly.
SoFly!
SoFly! Not so small!
Not no more.
Yeah.
And we're going to take it out on the road, guys.
It's coming. Don't worry. We're going to get better microphones for that, and we're going to sing it. We're going to bring them all kinds of business. Yeah, we wanted to share today something that they did for us, and we've talked about it, but we actually have it here with us, and it is
Beautiful.
our tumbler. Yeah, they specialized it. This is actually what we're going to take to CrimeCon for September, and they put our names at the bottom. Tiffany has one as well, and they did an absolute fantastic job. So we wanted to show that to you. And they also do embroidery. They specialize in that with different colors, and they'll put your logo, your name, your initials on anything like a t-shirt, a cap, an apron, you name it. They can put it on their purse. Also, they do some lasering, and they can do that on keychains, carving boards, and they also now do the t-shirts with the press-ons. And so we will show that to you on our next show. But we will go ahead and share a little video. So here we go. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. So check them out. We know that you'll be happy because we stay absolutely happy all the time with SoFly. So check them out. We're going to leave their information in the description box below, and I'm going to turn it over to Tiff now. So here we go.
All right, guys. On April 24th, 1981, three young men found something suspicious in a ditch alongside Greenlee Road in Newton Township, Troy, Ohio. One of the three men, Greg Breidenbaugh, initially noticed a distinctive buckskin poncho. He told his friend Neil Hoffman to take a look at the coat. Hoffman walked closer to the clothing before turning toward Breidenbaugh, saying, "Oh my God, there's a woman in that coat." The young woman was lying in a fetal position on her right side without shoes or socks. The men immediately reported their discovery to police. The body was autopsied on the afternoon of her discovery. The medical examination revealed she had extensive blunt force trauma to the head and neck before she had been strangled to death. Additionally, her liver was found to be lacerated. She had not been subject to any form of sexual assault. The woman had been 5'4" and 5'6" in height, aged between 18 and 26, and weighed 125 to 130 pounds. She had naturally reddish-brown hair, light brown eyes, and freckles across her nose. Her nose was described as being very pointed. The young woman was dressed in blue bell-bottom Wrangler jeans, a brown turtleneck pullover sweater with an orange crisscross design on the front, a white bra, and a hoodless deerskin poncho with purple satin lining.
Interesting.
Very. And it was a nice poncho.
Yeah.
Which appeared to be handmade. She wore no shoes or socks and no jewelry. No form of ID was located on her body or at the crime scene. Because the body was found approximately 48 hours after her death, police were able to obtain her fingerprints and dental information. The dental charts yielded no results matching her to any known missing person, and her fingerprints matched no police records, indicating she had no criminal record.
Right.
Early police efforts to identify this young woman also involved the creation of a composite drawing of her face, which was published in local newspapers and broadcasted on television networks on April 28, 1981. This initial media publicity surrounding the murder generated approximately 200 leads.
That's a lot.
Although all were investigated, all of them were ruled out.
Really?
Over 200.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So these people, I guess, that called in maybe had a missing loved one or knew someone missing
That's what I was
with
wondering.
that
Or
identity, or that,
just, hey, that kind of looks familiar. Could it be this
or
person?
maybe her jacket. That's
Yeah.
that's pretty unique.
Yeah.
That poncho. Interesting.
Well, the victim gradually became known as Buckskin Girl in reference to the distinctive buckskin poncho she
Mhm.
was wearing when she was found. As her identity remained undiscovered, investigating authorities came to increasingly believe the reason Buckskin Girl remained unidentified had been due to the fact that she had been murdered far from her hometown.
Makes sense to me. Yeah.
Yes. Authorities strongly believed Buckskin Girl had been murdered elsewhere and her body discarded beside the road shortly after her death. This conclusion was supported by the fact that her bare feet were clean, showing no indication of her having walked upon a dirty surface.
Wow.
And because Interstate 75 is just 5 miles from where her body was recovered, making the site a convenient and discreet location to discard a body. Police and media later speculated that she may have been a teenage runaway or a possible victim of a serial killer known to have murdered several workers in the region during the 1980s and 1990s. However, her body had not been subject to any form of assault, indicating she was unlikely to have been a sex worker.
Mhm.
The investigation into Buckskin Girl's murder gradually became a cold case, although police and other officials continued to investigate her murder. Her clothing and other physical evidence recovered at the crime scene was retained and a sample of her blood preserved.
I like to hear that.
Oh, and this gets to my favorite part because I think, and you'll know when I start talking about it, I think the human body is the most amazing thing
Mhm.
that is way beyond what we can even understand.
Right.
And I think when we gradually get to that, it's like,
Mhm.
it blows my mind
Yes.
at how amazing these things are.
Yeah.
So in 2001, the Miami Valley Regional Crime Lab generated a DNA profile of, of Buckskin Girl. This data was entered into the newly established National Missing and Unidentified Persons System database in 2008, through which her fingerprints, dental, and DNA information were made nationally accessible to law enforcement. This data was able to conclusively rule out any possibility of 226 missing teenage girls and young women as Buckskin Girl. In 2009, a DNA sample was submitted to the FBI for inclusion within the Combined DNA Index System, CODIS.
CODIS. In comes CODIS.
Well, in 2016, NCMEC released 2 renderings of Buckskin Girl, also publishing a poster on their database. These images were extensively distributed via online media, although initially no significant leads developed. Police also began pollen and isotope examinations, which indicated regions where she had traveled. Blows my mind. I love it.
Yes,
I
I
think
love
that's
that.
amazing.
It is amazing.
Ugh.
The environment
The environment
is
is
very
all in
important.
us.
Yes. Yeah, we breathe it, we eat it.
It's all in your hair.
Yeah, it's
Everything you do
everywhere.
is in your hair. It's
Mhm.
amazing.
Very true.
The test confirmed the assumptions she had lived a transient life before her murder. Tests on
Okay.
her hair and nails showed she had spent time in the southwest, southeast, and possibly northern Mexico. She had spent around 4 months, split by 2 visits, to areas around Oklahoma and Fort Worth, Texas. Pollen and soot indicated she had traveled through urban areas. The isotope test gave additional locations Buckskin Girl resided, pinpointing the northeastern part of the U.S.
Wow.
The case was submitted to the DNA Doe Project in 2018 using forensic genetic genealogy to identify potential relatives in the free database known as GEDmatch.
Yes.
The organization used a blood sample which was poorly preserved to upload into the system. They received additional assistance from the Full Genomes Corporation. A match was made within 4 hours of research and was the
Incredible.
first identification made by the organization, if not through genetic genealogy.
That is
4
incredible.
hours.
I love that. This is where technology is really exciting to me.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
I
some
love
of it is scary, but this to me is so important. I love it.
So on April 9th, 2018, the Miami Valley Regional Crime Lab announced they had identified the young woman as 21-year-old Marcia Lenore King of Little Rock, Arkansas. Her identification had been achieved via DNA analysis conducted by the DNA Doe Project. The organization had been contacted by Dr. Murray in 2017 and was able to successfully match a sample of King's DNA to a sample submitted for comparison by a first cousin.
Absolutely phenomenal. Love that.
Police scheduled a press conference for the morning of April 11th, 2018, where they revealed the victim had been identified, providing her name and 2 photographs. The investigation is now focusing on solving her murder, which does not have viable suspects or persons of interest. Authorities created a timeline of her whereabouts, also stating she may have ventured to Ohio to participate in a religious organization. What's sad is she traveled to so many places and
Yeah.
she was left in a place where anybody could have gone and,
Yes.
and dumped her body.
Well, I have an idea, but we'll share that later.
Yes, I want to hear that
Mhm.
idea.
Mhm.
In early April 2018, King's brother confirmed her identification through Facebook,
Wow.
providing some details about her disappearance, but would delete his profile following a wave of unsupportive comments, questions, and criticism.
What?
So I think people were mad because he didn't look for her more. But
It's a different generation.
exactly.
They don't automatically think social media platforms.
It was harder to get their face out there
Yeah.
the way we can now. You share a video, you share a
Yeah.
picture. They couldn't do those things then.
Well, no, and now it's still hard for some of that generation, which is typically boomer generation, to grapple the fact that you can, do that even today.
Right.
Yeah.
It's sad that happened.
That, internet can be such a mean place to exist.
Yeah, a lot
It
of
can
times.
be. Instead of being supportive and productive, people can be so mean and just degrading, and it irritates my soul.
Yes. So Marcia Lenore Sossaman King was born June 9th, 1959. Marcia was known to hitchhike and was last seen sometime in 1980 by relatives in Little Rock, Arkansas. A missing person report was never filed by police as she was an adult when she lost contact with family.
Mm-hmm.
Despite this, loved ones continued to search for her. Marcia's mother remained at her home in Arkansas and never changed her phone number, hoping her daughter would contact her.
Oh, wow.
So people don't realize that they were searching for her
Mm-hmm.
this entire time, not giving up, and they gave her brother a hard time on Facebook.
And they might not have really considered that she had been hurt. They
Well,
might
yeah,
have
she was
just
hitchhiking
yeah,
and she could have stopped somewhere, met someone, and, just never contacted her family.
just went on to live her
Anything
life.
could have happened.
Yeah, so they probably didn't nobody wants to think that.
No.
If they don't have proof, you don't just jump to that conclusion. Maybe she had a little wild side to her and she would go with the wind and, have that hippie vibe where she just liked to roam and, so
Well,
they didn't think
and it was
anything
one of
past
those
that.
times where hitchhiking was a thing.
Yes.
You
It
know,
it was a
it was
thing.
a thing.
And so was serial killers picking up those hitchhikers as
Yeah.
well. But yeah, that's true.
So Marcia traveled across the U.S. Some witnesses claim to have seen her in places such as a bar or a park. King remains buried at the Riverside Cemetery in Troy, Ohio. After her identification, her headstone was replaced, bearing the name Marcia L. Sossaman King. So, guys, what do you think? Stephanie, what do you think, first of all?
I've heard about this story through the years,
Mhm.
and I remember when it hit the internet waves and you would see her face pop up that she was unidentified. Um, but my thought, knowing her background, hitchhiking, and she obviously liked to travel the United States, my first thought was, and God forgive me, I thought about a truck driver. And nothing against truck drivers. If you're a truck driver, all respect to you. Our father was a truck driver before he retired for decades. But there are um, there are possibilities that there are truck drivers out there that are serial killers. And
There
so
are.
it's a possibility that he picked her up at a truck stop or if she was hitchhiking on side of the road. And once she's in that truck, anything can happen. And it's so easy for them to ditch their
And they're
victims.
traveling along the country. They can just dump them off
Yes.
anywhere they can, and you can't, especially back then, you couldn't
Yes.
prove. Now there's computers in the trucks, and
Yes.
they they track everything differently, but back
Yes.
then,
It was
there was no way of tracking who
yeah.
was where at what time.
No. You could do anything with your victim. And I just feel that that is a huge possibility that someone nefarious saw an attractive, young, beautiful young lady who's out on the side of the road hitchhiking by herself, and he took advantage of that and did what he did and got rid of her. That's what I think happened to her. Um, and good luck on ever solving that.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't know how they could solve it
Yeah. It
because
would
there
be
was
really
no
tough.
evidence of anything.
Well, no, because she'd been there long enough that the environment probably dissipated any DNA that they could possibly recover.
Mhm.
Um, and, you know, I think it's sad. She was a free spirit, obviously, and her family just sat and waited for her to come back,
That's heartbreaking.
you
I can't
know?
imagine being that mom.
Yeah. And then the burden got laid at the brother's feet. Unfortunately, and who knows how old he was when this happened. He might not have been old enough to even know details, to even know where to
Mhm.
start.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, we're not all born with the knowledge of how to start looking for a missing loved one. That's a learning process that no one wants to learn. So, he might not have had any idea where to start,
Yeah.
you know. But God bless him, and hopefully it brought him some sort of peace, although it's never going to be, complete peace because he doesn't know the story of what happened to his sister.
Yeah.
So that's the saddest part. But hopefully, you never know. There may be one DNA hair root, some saliva, something that they kept that maybe they could find it and code us. Who knows?
Well, they're still working, so
Yeah,
that's amazing.
it's possible.
So, guys, let us know what you think. Leave a comment. Do you think she was a victim of a serial killer,
Hmm.
a traveling truck driver,
Yeah.
or, just a hitchhike gone wrong? I mean, what do you think? I want to
Yeah.
know what everyone thinks. So, yeah, leave us some comments. We'd love to hear it. We celebrate every comment,
Absolutely.
good or
We
bad. It
do.
doesn't matter. We
We
love
do.
them all.
We share them with each other. So, yeah, we love to hear what you think. So, yeah, please do that.
Yeah. So until our next episode, guys, please remember to see
See
the
the
good
good
and
and
stay
stay
imperfectly
imperfectly
perfect.
perfect.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.